Welcome to I May Be Wrong.
I don't know what this world is coming to,
but I don't think so. We're broadcasting from the greater Nashville area, the home of country music, beyond the borders of political correctness and identity politics. Facts and faith are our demarcations. Truth lights our path.
Here's the Barry White of podcast radio,
the venerable Alfonzo Ashworth.
Welcome to another exciting episode of I May Be Wrong, but I Don't Think So. Of course, I'm your host, Alfonzo Ashworth. We got a great program lined up for you. I'm very excited about the guest that's sitting in the queue. I've been watching and listening to this brother for some time, admiring him not only for his name, because we bear the same first namesake, of course, but I tell you what, he's got the game up on me, and you're gonna really enjoy Alfonzo Rachel. We're gonna have him on in just a minute, but before we do, let's do just a little bit of housekeeping. Of course, if you want to be a part of the show, we need your support. You can come to the website. I may be wrong, but I don't think so.com. Become a contributor. Also you can donate to the program, become a regular donor or somebody that wants to help the program out. You can buy some of the merchandise on the website, but we need your support. In order for me and others that do this, we have to have your support for us to be able to do these things we do on air. Airtime is not free. I don't care what Bernie Sanders says. I don't care what Elizabeth Warren says. I don't care what the Socialist Party says. Free is not free. It costs somebody something. But before we get started on the show, I'm going to set this up. I want to play a clip from Bernie Sanders, Comrade Bernie Sanders, when at the last debate, he was asked a question about global warming, climate change, and what he would do in order to combat climate change. And this is what he had to say.
Human population growth has more than doubled in the past 50 years. The planet cannot sustain this growth. I realize this is a poisonous topic for politicians, but it's crucial to face. Empowering women and educating everyone on the need to curb population growth seems a reasonable campaign to enact. Would you be courageous enough to discuss this issue and make it a key feature of a plan to address climate catastrophe?
Well, Martha, the answer is yes. And the answer has everything to do with the fact that women in the United States of America, by the way, have a right to control their own bodies and make reproductive decisions.
It's called birth control.
And the Mexico City Agreement, which denies American aid to those organizations around the world that allow women to have abortions or even get involved in birth control, to me is totally absurd. So I think, especially in poor countries around the world, where women do not necessarily want to have large numbers of babies, and where they can have the opportunity through birth control to control the number of kids they have, something I very, very strongly support.
Well, there you have it. And of course, he got a round in applause over there. But let me give you some facts. Let's say some facts about abortion.
The facts about abortion don't lie. Over 60 million abortions have taken place since the Supreme Court's Roe v. Wade decision of 1973. Over 78% of abortions are surgical, but chemical abortions have risen to 22%. 44% of women who've had an abortion have aborted a baby before. 85% of women who had abortions were unmarried. 1 in 4 women will have an abortion by age 45. Since 1995, the number of abortions has fallen significantly, from 1.3 million in 1995 to a little over 900,000 in 2016. But isn't nearly 1 million abortions of children too many? How many great minds, loving hearts, and unique talents were ended before they had the chance to change our world and better the lives of all of us?
Well, there you have it. The facts versus the fiction. The facts are 60 million babies aborted since Roe v. Wade. in 1973. In 1972, there was a young man born in Southern California on Grissom Air Force Base. This young man was a founder of something called the Serpent Media. He goes on, of course, he then does commentary on MySpace. He builds an audience. They follow him over to YouTube, millions of viewers. Alfonzo Rachel built an audience with video commentaries. He expressed himself with a profound and creative perspectives from a Christian conservative angle. Rachel used his martial arts studies studio to record his video commentaries after teaching his classes. His observations have gotten him invited on shows like Bill O'Reilly, The Drew Show, The Red Eye, Fox and Friends, many other radio shows. And of course, now he's on I May Be Wrong, but I don't think so. He shared the stage with the likes of Andrew Britebart, Jack Hibbs, Herman Cain, Larry Elders, Bill Whittle, and many, many more. Welcome to I May Be Wrong, but I don't think so, Alfonzo Zo Rachel. Welcome to the show, brother.
Right on, man. Thank you so much for having me. You know, I love the name of your show because it's got that nice balance of humility and confidence.
Well, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Of course, I love your show. I followed you for quite some time. I was with a brother named Lonnie Poindexter. I don't know if you know Lonnie. He was on a show called Lion Chasers Radio.
Indeed.
And I was his guest host. And I kept wondering, when are we going to get Zo? When are we going to get Zo on the show? And I don't know if Lonnie ever had the opportunity to touch base with you to get him on, but he maybe had you on at some time and I didn't hear it. But man, I am so glad.
Likewise, man. I'm glad to be here, man. Let's chop it up, man. Let's
do this. Now, of course, tell my audience, what are you currently doing? What's going on in the Zo Loft?
Oh, man, you got to start off with a sob story, man. I got to give a sob story.
Okay. All right. We'll go there. We can go there. What brought you here, man?
Well, you know, the thing is, I'm still, you know, because a lot of folks may not, you know, see what I've been doing. You know, because of course I'm trying to do things. I'm trying to do stuff. But, you know, you're probably familiar with the content suppression that's been going on out there.
Real. Yeah.
And they've been digging into me bad, man. They hit me really hard. So I'm still, you know, producing my political commentary, my social political commentary, my place for chuckle therapy, in this political discourse that we're having with the Zo Loft. That's my commentaries now. And I also do my online Bible study, my anti-fuddy-duddy Bible study called the Zopium Den. And I've got my band 20 Pound Sledge, or my music project. You know, so I'm doing things like that, and I'm still trying to consistently put stuff out, but it's difficult to do that regularly.
Right.
Because my support, my ability to reach my audience and stuff like that has been greatly compromised. And when you're kept out of sight, you're kept out of people's minds, so your support evaporates.
Right.
So that's what I've been battling against for years now, you know, and some people are starting to feel it now. You know, you see people talking about, you know, the content suppression and the shadow banning. I'm like, welcome to my world, because this is what they've been doing to me for years. That's why folks haven't really heard of my work for so long. Even with the Gosnell movie that came out, you know, I was principal cast in that. It was like a #1 independent movie release of 2018, #1 Amazon seller. Trump hosted it in the White House. Most of my audience didn't even know I was in the movie.
Well, you know, I saw you in that movie. I mean, I was like, hey, there's my guy, you know. And I knew, you know, of course you do so many things, brother. I mean, it's like, I know it's going to be hard to tie you down and control what you're doing, because I'm still seeing some of your work on YouTube. And of course, and it just blows people away. And I hear people say, well, who is that guy? You know, I'm like, well, he's Alfonso. You know, he's me. He's like me, but with a bigger stage. But, you know, tell people that, you know, of course, the struggles that you've been dealing with the shadow banning, with the control of the conservative movement, especially Ben, and I don't want to go here because I know you don't really like to do this. I don't want to go as you as a black man, and that turns a lot of people off. But tell the audience what it's like being inside of your sphere and having to fight the powers to be, being from a black perspective.
Well, I guess maybe that's one of the things that kind of gets me in trouble, and maybe even like alienated, in a lot of different places, because, whereas like, you have the white conservatives, they like having the black conservative, right, because it's like, you can say the things that we can't say. Right. And I'm like, they hate us just as much as they hate you. Okay. So don't you don't really need to use that. But, and I've been told for so long by Democrats, and the liberal trolls that, hey, when Obama's no longer in office, these white conservatives, they're going to throw your black behind to the curb and they're going to forget about you. And now, in a way that appears to be true, but if they did forgive me, it's because they had a lot of help. Because like I said, with the shadow banning, they keep you out of sight and out of mind, and they'll forget about anybody. That's why Coca-Cola still advertises. Right. Because as famous as they are, if they stop advertising, people will stop drinking it. So
right, that's like, just the nature. Yeah, that's the nature of it.
That's just the way it is, So it's like it's a little bit of both, So I don't take too much hardship on either side of that. But on the other side of it, me being a black conservative, I don't really go along with that because, and this kind of like kind of puts me aside with the, more of the black conservative movement, because if I don't want to be called a hyphenated American, it's like I'm an American, right? It's like I don't need to tell anybody I'm black. You can see it. You can see my blackness in all its glory. Right. I don't need to tell you. Right. I don't need to tell you that I'm black. But just like I don't need to tell you I'm a black conservative. There's, I don't think there's any sort of, sure, our experiences may be different, but when you look at the grand scheme of things, it's not like, the difficult struggles that we faced, anybody's faced. There's been slavery in all cultures. There's been segregation. There's been discrimination in all cultures. That's not something unique to us, So, in terms of being a black conservative, I'm like, I won't even lean on that. I'm just a conservative, and I don't need to tell you that I'm black. I'm pretty sure you can see it for yourself. I don't want any sort of like, I'm not looking for, and I don't want to sound like, condescending or anything. I don't mean to sound like or anything like that. I'm just saying I'm not looking for any sort of like pat on the back or something like that. Right. For being a black conservative. Because, the thing is, it used to be a normal thing for blacks to be Republican anyway. Yeah. Prior to the 60s, in the 40s and 50s, black families were very conservative, very, focused on, the Republican Party. And, I don't know, people say, well, the great switch and, it was a flip and all that kind of stuff. I'm yet to find anybody that can actually show me any evidence of it. Right. Yeah. It's like, when did this big old switch happen? Because, we know that liberals really love Malcolm X. They claim to love him so much. And I'm like, well, according to Malcolm X, that big switch that you guys are talking about is way off its timeline, because Malcolm X was saying, hey, you're a political chump and a traitor to your race if you support the Democrat Party. And he said that before the so-called switch. Yeah. That they may try to attribute to, Lee Atwater, or that they'll try to attribute to, when Goldwater was campaigning, right, and all that sort of stuff. It's like, well, when did this so-called switch happen? When did this Southern strategy that y'all talk about really happen? It's like, but if you want, I'll help you. It's like, there was actually a Southern strategy that did work. Oh, yeah. That was the strategy. That was the strategy. LBJ. Yeah. That's right. That's the one that worked, and unfortunately still seems to be working. So in that sense, I will concede to you, and you guys can have that all day. Okay. Well, we'll give them that much. We'll give them that much. But on the other hand, let's be fair. Let's be fair about this. We're gonna be fair. Yeah, we're gonna be fair. Let's look at it from the fact that many people of color, blacks, or as Lonnie used to call them, people with our paint job. These people have somewhat set their own trap, because they've been supporting the Democratic Party and in some cases the independents,
because of the promises made to the black community or the people of color that has just never materialized. It's never developed. And I run into this all the time, and I know you do as well. How do you, as a commentator, because you do a lot of this, as someone who has seen both sides and has been around for a while, how do you educate people on these matters? And I know you do it with humor, because I've seen your show, and it's very funny, by the way. I don't know, who's the devil? When you come up with that little devil character on there? You know, every time I see you do that, I bust out laughing.
Well, thank you, man. And it's like, hey, well, it's a funny take on as far. I mean, I think it's kind of funny. You are of your father the devil, and the sins of your father you will do. And Democrats, what do? All they do is accuse.
Right.
They accuse all
accusations.
Day long.
Yeah.
And that's what Satan's name means.
He's a great accuser. Yeah.
That's right, man. So it's like, it's as far as I'm concerned, it fits. And I try to make him the foil, in my commentaries. And I had a fun time doing it.
Yeah. And so, to get back to the education, how do you do that and still keep your credibility as someone that's serious minded and really wants to see people eyes open? How do you do it?
It's one of those things where you either need to do it like one at a time. It's a one at a time thing, man, because when you're trying to go up against the herd, nobody wants to step away from the herd.
Right.
They don't want to be ostracized. So, when you're able to get some cats, like one-on-one and plant them seeds like that, give them something to think about. Sometimes it doesn't work all the time, as the word says, man. Sometimes you'll cast that seed out. Sometimes it'll land on thorns. Sometimes it's going to land on rocks. Sometimes it's going to land on good soil.
Right.
But when you can get these cats, man, like one-on-one, man, you get that seed into them, they start to think it. And then when they go back into their community, they start to see it. So there's that method. The other method is when you're able to connect with them, with the things that they relate to and the things that they enjoy. A lot of the influence that they have comes through their music. It comes through the things that they're entertained by. It comes through their education. And these are places where conservatives just aren't. We're not there. We don't supply these competitive, creative means,
right,
to get our message out there before the prejudice has already gotten to them. So we can,
because we're looked at, of course, we're looked at as these old guys. You these old Uncle Toms.
Yeah.
You the house Negro.
Yeah.
And so that character is played up in movies like the Django and some of that stuff.
Right.
Where you got this old cranky old black man, that just want to do whatever massa wants him to do. And that's the way we're portrayed in our own community. And it does make it difficult to get to the young people, to find that hip type of message. And I think you do that. Of course, you do that through your music as well. Tell us something about the 20-pound sledgehammer. Brother, if somebody can swing a 20-pound sledgehammer, that's a man. Tell us about that.
That's oh man, and his name escaped. That's what's his name? Henry, man.
John Henry.
John Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it takes, man. It takes a big brother like that to swing that thing. And 20-pound sledge, long story short, when I came up with that, I was at a point in my life where I was at that spiritual crossroad, because I was borderline, atheist, agnostic, but I was, just at a place where I just didn't have peace in my life. And I was doing some little demolition work, and I had this 10-pound sledge. And long story short, man, I was just like, what, man, I think the thing that's just standing in my way is my ego. I got an ego that's just too big. I got this brick wall of an ego to surround me, man. If I could just sledge through this thing. And if I could just sledge through and just let the light of the Lord in, man, if the Lord will shine on me,
right?
Just let me bust down this wall made up of my ego.
And, I just thought of Samson when you said that. I thought of the character Samson in the Bible.
I wish my muscles was about half the muscles of that.
But when you said just pounding your way through, just just bringing down the walls, just knocking things down. And I just think how God used Samson to do just what you just described with the 20-pound sledgehammer. You know, you can't knock down some things with a little 1-pound hammer. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna be killing yourself. You're gonna hurt yourself. Right. So you got to swing that heavy hammer. So you did that. Is that more like rock? Yeah, I know she said you do rock type music. Is that what you're talking about in that genre?
Yeah, it's hard rock. And following up with what you said, even the word says in Isaiah 41:15, "Behold, I make you a threshing sledge, new and sharp with many teeth, and I'll use you to pound the hills and mountains to dust." Come on. So it's like, this is. I've been building on that, to say, okay, Lord, I reckon this is what you want me to do. And, the music, man, it's a powerful tool. It's so powerful. Even the Lord encourages us to make that joyful noise, make a new song, be innovative, make new music. Right. I know you got traditional, Christians out there to say, no, we need to sing those same old hymns. And the Bible doesn't say that. The Bible says sing a new song.
Yes, it does. You gotta make a joyful noise. Yes, that's right. You gotta keep it fresh, man, but without deviating from what's righteous in God's sight. Amen. You gotta square it up with Him, but you gotta still present that stuff with some salt, man. You gotta make it tasty. You know? You can't come to these young brothers. I've got a young nephew, and I have to come at him in a different way than people came at me in my age, because I'm 57. Of course, I was. I'm a little bit older. And I understand that genre difference or that musical difference, because I'm more like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah, that's my thing. But that's still good stuff, man. Yeah, and of course, being a bass player, those are the bands I admired. The bass lines, and of course, you're a drummer, and so we work hand in hand. We're in the rhythm section, and so we understand what that means if you're trying to bring something new and fresh. Of course, you also, like myself, you working on a book. I've got my 7th under my belt. What's going on with the book, man?
Well, same thing. It's that content suppression. Those who are able to find it and those who get it have been really pleased with it. I'm blessed by that. And the book is basically my my culture war coaching. Okay, is what the book is. It's taking those that old archaic book, the Bible, and showing how it's still applicable today, because the Bible has to pass a canonical test. It's the scriptures that are in there, it has to be culturally relevant, it has to be generationally relevant, it has to be historically accurate in order to meet the canon. And there is nothing in the Bible that doesn't speak to us today. Right. It's all relative, it's all applicable. As the saying goes, you don't read the Bible, it reads you. It knows us. Yes. And and I apply that. I try to show folks, man, it's applicable to everything, especially concerning the way that you vote. If you're gonna leave the word, the law. I mean, this is the law. This is the law that holds the universe together. And if you're gonna leave that law out, in terms of how you're gonna vote for policy, we are making a big mistake. And of course, Jesus was the greatest politician ever. That's right. I mean, he went before the Sanhedrin. He went before the Pharisees, and he proclaimed something that they was like, no, don't say that. He says, "I'm the Son of God." And what cracks me up, man, is when people try to lean on some kind of like sanctimony or some sort of piety that makes them think that they're squared up with Jesus by trying to say that he was above politics and Jesus wasn't about politics and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, look, I can understand, when we consider the sourness of politics and stuff like that. I get it. I understand how you would think that our holy, sweet Jesus would be removed from all that. But I assure you that he's not. He's been about politics since the beginning. From the day one, when he was being a baby in the womb, he was about politics. He was about it, and matter of fact, even from the creation of man, we got politics. Because look, Adam, let me tell you something, man. You can have whatever's in this garden, and you can enjoy it, but this tree over here, you can't do not eat from it. Yes, that's my policy. That's it. That's my policy from day one. See, you nailed it down. You nailed it down, brother. You know what? We need to do this more often. That's for sure. I already see it. We can carry on conversations probably for hours, but tell my audience where
they can find the book? Where can they find you? What's the easiest way to do it?
Thank you, man. I'm at bronzeserpentmedia.com. Just think John 3:14 through 16, and there folks can catch up with my the Zo Loft videos. That's my social political commentary. Still got a little bit of like biblical twist in there, so and then also there's the Zopium Den, where I concentrate more on scripture. It's a chapter by chapter, verse by verse study of biblical writ, and then there's my books, Weapon of ASS Destruction, The Flood Chronicles, and my recent book. I got to catch up with you, man. I got 3 books right now. My recent book, A Solid Right Cross, and then, of course, my band, 20 Pound Sledge, which we just released our latest album, Electric Exodus.
Wow. It just is, people ask me, where do you find time to do all this? I said, people make time for what they are passionate about. And it's obvious you're very passionate about your belief, the same as myself, about what you believe, your core belief. You're passionate about your talent, your music, and you're also passionate about this country. So let's end it with this. Who, and I'm going to put you on the spot on this one.
Oh, boy.
Who on the stage for the Democrats has a chance to defeat Donald Trump in 2020?
Has a chance?
Has a chance.
That part, well, it would be easy to answer. Thank you for putting it like that. None of them.
Thank you. That's look. I already knew your answer. That's why I let you hit that one out of the park.
Thank you.
Hey, brother, I really appreciate you coming on, and of course, I hope we can do this again sometime. And of course, This is Alfonzo Rachel. You can find him, of course, on Bronze Media. It's a Serpent Media.com, and go out there and check his books out, his music out. What this brother's doing is top shelf. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Of course, that was Alfonzo Rachel on our show. Hey, look, I admire anyone that puts themselves out there and is open. They're an open book. They're an open story. And you don't get any more open than individuals like Alfonzo Rachel. This is why I wanted him on the show, because he's a young brother that's out there chopping away with that, hammering away with his 20-pound sledge hammer. And of course, I want to thank him for coming on. Before we get off the air for this episode, of course, I want to let you know that you can find us as well on I may be wrong, but I don't think so.com. You can also go there and contribute to the program. We really would like your contributions. You can also be one of our donors. Subscribe to the show. That's one way to find out what's going on. If you go to the website, I may be wrong, but I don't think so.com, you can become a subscriber on the program. And that way you will get the latest news, the latest information about what's happening all around the show and what's happening with the host. There's a lot of activities that you can do while you're there as well. The thing that's happening right now in the country was so divided politically, along racial lines, along gender lines, and Alfonzo Rachel hit the nail on the head with his hammer. We have to get the people where they listen. They're not listening to some things. They're not hearing some voices because those voices are not available to them. So we have to reach them in a way just like what Jesus did. Jesus went to the people. He brought the message to the lost. He didn't wait for the lost to come and find him. He went and found them. He knew who they were. So when his disciples went out, he sent them out to find those and seek those who were lost. And that's what we have to continue to do. Of course, I want to thank you for being on the program today. And of course, if you want to be more involved, get out there and do what you got to do. Let people know what's happening and get out there and be active. Of course, I want to thank you for listening in today. Of course, God bless America. God bless our children. And of course, God bless the President of the United States.
You've been listening to Alfonso Ashworth, the Barry White of Podcast Radio. Go forth and share his message. I may be wrong, but I don't think so. Remember, no two people can ever occupy the same place at the same time. You were uniquely and wonderfully made. Born an original. Don't die a copy. God bless. Peace.